Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. It's Stephen here, live on Friday, just before lunchtime, talking about some transfer rumours that we saw going around the Twitter yesterday. How are you doing? Are you well? Are you good? How are you feeling ahead of the Liverpool game? I've just done a call with the BBC about that game, chatting to Liverpool fan at the same time as well. I'll tell you what, that sharpened my senses a little bit. I am nervous. It was funny though, because listening to Liverpool fan talk, they were very much still, oh, City will be back, blah, blah, blah. You know, they expecting City to turn up for this game. And obviously, I don't know how much I feel about that. I think confidence right now is in a funny place. But yeah, that game, of course, is looming on the horizon. That's going to be a really interesting, very interesting game, that one. Before that, though, of course, there's still plenty to talk about. I want to talk about some rumours today, seeing City linked to some midfielders, because I actually think they've got there's a reasonable logic to both of these potential signings if they were to happen. I actually quite like the idea of them. Don't forget, this video is sponsored by Football Prizes, though. If you want to win, that's something that could be very, very cool. You want to go to the Manchester derby, Pep versus Amorim, City versus United, and you want to sit there at the Etihad, watching City in hospitality. Hopefully we'll beat United in the Manchester derby. It's a few weeks away, so hopefully the form will be changed by then. You can enter for just £3.16. There's a Black Friday discount today. Fingers crossed one of you guys could win. Only 168 people have entered so far. Click the link in the description below, and fingers crossed one of you guys could win a chance to go to the Manchester derby in hospitality and see City hopefully beat United in style. That would be absolutely wonderful. So fingers crossed, enter and go and click that link in the description. Fingers crossed one of you guys could win it. It's always great when one of you guys who watches this channel wins the prizes, and it happens all the time. Big love to Football Prizes, big love to you guys as well. So this is the rumour I want to talk about, which I saw going around yesterday. So it says, City are interested in Adam Wharton and Martin Zubimendi, while City originally intended to pursue their interest in a new midfielder next summer. Rodri's injury is expected to see them consider bringing these plans forward to January. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I think this is probably genuinely true. This is from Sammy, Mockball for the Daily Mail. You can roll your eyes at the Daily Mail if you want to, but they have connections, and I think there is actually something in this. I feel like, yeah, Zubimendi, Wharton both sort of fit the bill. And look, before we talk about those individuals, I think we'd be absolutely insane not to consider buying in January. Even if things were going reasonably well, I think we'd be insane not to. I mean that because I think we can't ignore the fact that Rodri, it's a huge blow, and we do not know what Rodri's going to be like when he gets back again. And we do know that we need a backup midfielder. We do know that people like Kovacic and Stones and De Bruyne and Gundogan, they're all past 30, and we do know that we're going to need a rebuild at some point. So while the future of De Bruyne and Gundogan and the fitness of Rodri and whatever, and Bernardo, and all that blood stuff is up in the air, we have to start now. We absolutely have to start now, you know? So I think we'd be stupid not to. I really believe that. I think January, if you can get a signing done, the sooner we get players under Guardiola's tutelage, the better. And I think January, 6 months earlier, gives them a better chance to be perfect by the time next season starts. And I don't want to wait around and sort of risk, to be honest, if this form carries on, I don't think it will do. You risk Champions League qualification. So you absolutely have to start now, because there's no guarantee, and you're going to hate me for saying this, but there's no guarantee Rodri comes back as Rodri. Look, it's a very serious injury for a man who's not like dead young. He's not really old, but he's like, you know, by the time he gets back to full fitness, he could be pushing 30, and then he might not get back to himself again. So we have to, we absolutely have to take it seriously, and we have to start the rebuild right now. What I want to see Manchester City do is get the kind of players that they did previously. I want to see him get technical players in. Previously, we got really technical footballers in, and we taught them how to defend. Like, Bernardo Silva has never been an insane athlete, an insanely technical footballer that we at one point turned into a great box-to-box player alongside Fernandinho. He was brilliant when he was younger because he was full of energy. And Gundogan was never an insanely athletic footballer, but 3 or 4 years ago at his very best, he was a genius. He could play as a number 6 so well. You know, I want to see us sign highly technical players and sort of course correct a little bit. We've signed runners in Nunes that don't think Guardiola thinks are technically smart enough to dominate games in the way that we have. I want I want basically whoever we sign them to be really smart technical footballers that you can teach where to be and all that kind of stuff. And Zubimendi, to me, and Adam Wharton to an extent, fit this. Now, look, if we're going to sign one of these in January, it has to be Martin Zubimendi. He's got a release clause. And for me, I think release clauses are easy to do. It makes sense. I mean, I actually made this little graphic myself here because I did tweet yesterday that both would be a notable upgrade defensively. And as you can see there, by the chart, look, Zubimendi there, you can see his stats with his colours. He's a perfect complete midfielder. But it's really obvious when you look at Kovacic and you look at Gundogan there, you can see their little diagrams that defensively they are not great at all. But Adam Wharton and Zubimendi both do a lot more defensive actions. The one that's cropped at the bottom there, it says defensive actions and carrying out. There you go. And they do a lot more duels as well. And they actually do a lot more progressive passes. So there we go. So Zubimendi, Wharton does more progressive passes than any of them. Wharton does more progressive passes than any of them. Zubimendi wins a higher percentage of his duels. Wharton and Zubimendi are way better in terms of defensive actions. So basically, the forward passes and carrying Bernardo, obviously, and Gundo and Kovacic come into their own a little bit there. But we need to get people who are comfortable defending and comfortable doing defensive actions. Look, to me, Bruno Guimaraes would be my ideal player. I agree. But I think Zubimendi would come in. He's a guy who's... Look, he's not Rodri, no. But he'd be a damn sight better than Gundogan right now. He actually reminds me a little bit of a younger Gundogan, Zubimendi. You know the way that Gundogan was a good number 6 when he was like 5-6 years ago, when he was a title race and Fernandinho was out. We won 14 games in a row at the end of the 2018-19 season, when Gundogan sat a little bit deeper. When Fernandinho was out, we won loads of games. He's more of that kind of profile, Zubimendi, and he's not like a destroyer, but he's a smart footballer and he reads the game really well and he's very comfortable. So that, to me, is why I'd love someone like Zubimendi to come in. I don't think it'd change everything immediately like, Rodri returning would do, but I think he's brilliant. And look, I know people have been a bit down on Adam Wharton. I think it's because he's English. I think there's an unintentional bit of xenophobia in there. Like, Adam Wharton is not Calvin Phillips. He plays nothing like him. People are going, oh, he's a young midfielder who's English, therefore he's Calvin Phillips. He's not. He doesn't play anything like him. Like, I really like Adam Wharton. I think he's the kind of guy you get in alongside a Zubimendi. Like, I think what City need to do is, Rodri is obviously fine. If you can have a Zubimendi there as well, you can have Adam Wharton, and if you have Phil Foden, and then maybe another creative player, like you need another creative player, I don't know, another number 8 or something like that. It's a good base to learn. And I think Adam Wharton, for 2 years under Guardiola, would become a really smart, really complete Gundogan-esque midfielder again. And I think he has energy, he can run and he can work. But I don't think he's a solution right now. He's only young. But I would really like both of these. And then hopefully a creative genius as well, to sort of fill out the midfield as we start to rebuild it. Because we have to be aggressive with the rebuild. Like, I think if you look forward 2 years from now, all these players will be gone. Bernardo, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Kovacic, Nunes. I think all of them will be gone in terms of central options. I think they all will. I think they really will. I think Bernardo will move on naturally when his contract expires. I think De Bruyne will be gone. Gundogan will be gone. I think Kovacic will be gone in a year or two as well. So, we have to start. We have to start. Look, Wirtz in January would be perfect. It would be, mate. We're not getting Wirtz in January, pal. And obviously, people talking about Ederson as well. Atlanta, different Ederson. Yeah, I mean, Ederson is more of a runner, isn't he? He's a lot more aggressive. As long as he has the technical ability. Balaba looks great as well. Yeah, Balaba's amazing. Cunha looks fantastic as well. Look, there's a few players, but I want to make sure that first and foremost, what people know these players for is their technical proficiency, because I'm bored of signing people that aren't potential technical geniuses on the ball. And I want to see people who... fair enough, Abhishek. No, Abhishek, no worries, mate. It would be the dream, though, wouldn't it? But I want to sign players who are technically able to smother games and opponents. Of course, it takes a little bit of time for Guardiola to sort of finesse that a little bit and teach him it. But these are the standards, These are the standards. Can we find another Gundogan? Can we find another Bernardo Silva? And I know it's funny because Bernardo Silva obviously was a technical freak and everyone's a bit down on Bernardo, but they shouldn't be. Bernardo's one of our greatest ever players. Like, it's wild that some people are down on him. Bernardo's just knackered right now, by the way. Absolutely knackered. So he's clearly... he's played so much football, Bernardo Silva, that he's lost a little bit. That Silva isn't shining as much. You know, he just needs a bit of a rest and a bit of a sparkle. Maybe we need to try and find someone with the same technical efficiency as him. I don't know. But yeah, I really like Wharton. I think he's a really smart player. He actually reminds me of a young Adam Johnson, so maybe I'm a little bit biased there because I loved Adam Johnson. Adam Johnson, wow, the wrong name. Michael Johnson. I did not love Adam Johnson. Jesus. That's a hell of a Freudian slip. It's not Freudian. He was a good footballer, Adam Johnson. Horrific person. I think we'd all agree with that. Michael Johnson, the young midfielder. Basically, yeah, he reminds me a lot of him. And Michael Johnson was so talented. He was so talented. We do need more athletic players as well. Our team is very short at the moment. I agree with that. Yeah, we do. Terrible statement to make. Unintentional statement to make. Yeah, it really is. Boo. Glad that he's rotting away somewhere. An awful. Yeah, it was Michael Johnson. Jesus. I said the wrong Johnson. I won't be the first person to say the wrong Johnson out loud. Anyway, Michael Johnson, cracking player. Michael Johnson, brilliant player. He went to my school as well, actually. Really talented youth player, of course. Alongside Alano, did wonderful things. Adam Wharton reminds me a little bit of him. I've sacked myself out. Bloody hell. Thankfully, it's a good job that he wasn't a midfielder, wasn't it? Otherwise, I'd have no defence. But, you know, thankfully he was a winger, so you know exactly what I was on about there. I wasn't talking about a winger, was I? A Fernandinho type player would be wonderful, Aiden Chrysler. He really would be. You know, he's... that energy, that drive would be wonderful. I don't think you need necessarily an aggressive destroyer always. You need... like Rodri's a destroyer in a different kind of way. Rodri just reads the game really well. He's not like a Fernandinho covering ground type. He's just positional sense is wonderful. Everyone's talking about Ederson an awful lot, the Atalanta player, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've seen loads of him. Everyone loves him right now because he reminds them of Fernandinho, but if he's Fernandinho-esque, bring him in, man. I'm more than happy with that. As long as he can technically reach the level that Fernandinho did by the time he hung up his boots at Manchester City Football Club, because he was absolutely brilliant. But we can't deny the fact that it is going to be a big rebuild. It has to be a big rebuild, and I want that rebuild to start as soon as possible. I saw the rumours going around that the EDS, I think Big Steve brought it up on a podcast, that the EDS beat the first team in a training game a few times in a row or something like that, and that wouldn't surprise me at all given the confidence of the first team right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Guardiola lead a couple of those young players maybe if it carries on. Who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, Ederson is quality. Well, allegedly anyway. I don't know a lot about him. We'll see. But I would be happy with any of these. I'd be happy with either of these right now. I think it'd be a lot for Wharton to come in January and step up. But I think I would like Zubimendi. Look, if City could go aggressive and buy both of them, it'd be brilliant. It'd be brilliant because I do feel like that would make a difference. And I think Crystal Palace, at one point they'd ask for 75 million, but right now I think they'd take about 55, 53 or something like that. And I do actually think City will go for a signing in January. I think it's going to be a sort of change of tack because Rodri's forced it. And I do think City will tempt Zubimendi. And I want to see where we are by then, you know. Rodri stats. I could try and find it, mate, the Rodri stats. But Rodri stats are ridiculous from what I can gather. Let me find... that was via... I can't remember the website I used to compare that was. Football... One second, football stat comparison. It was... What site was it? It was this one, here we go. It was this here. We can see Rodri, yeah, here we go, midfielders. So, you want to see what Rodri does? Here we go, here's Rodri, where's Rodri? Rodri 23-24, I mean, look at that. That's from last season. So, we'll bring up Kovacic this season. So there's Kovacic this season. I mean, it's not Kovacic's fault, but I've always said, by the way, what we'd missed the most from Rodri was his creativity, and I don't think that's been... I mean, defensively, of course, as well, but there we go. Yeah, that's Rodri versus Kovacic this season. I like Zubimendi this season as well, because I think the Zubimendi this season is interesting because he's not as obviously complete as Rodri, but he paints a very complete picture, you know? Like, I like Zubimendi a lot because he's very complete, if that makes sense. There's no one like Rodri. Rodri's a unicorn of a footballer. But Zubimendi, you know, look, he's very well-rounded, you know, very well-rounded. And I would expect, by the way, that his little... What shape is that? I can't remember. Was it an octagon? I don't know. Is it, whatever shape it is, to get bigger, if he was more at City. Ederson will get the Ederson fella up at Atlanta. There we go, this season. So there we go. Oh, it's hard to see that, isn't it? It's a bit hard to see. Ederson is this one here. God, I'll remove... For someone like slightly colourblind like me, there we go. There's Ederson. Ederson in the middle there. So Ederson is a lot more Rodri-shaped, actually. But obviously not quite as good at carrying the ball, Ederson, by the looks of it. But he looks good, man. Like, once again, I mean, Ederson looks a lot like... If you remove and put Zubimendi back in, that's Ederson's there. And obviously this doesn't tell you everything. A bit more around, yeah. So this is one of the things where it's like... it's good stats. I mean... Bruno, for me, by the way, is like Bruno Guimaraes. I bloody love Bruno Guimaraes. This season, where's Bruno Guimaraes? There he is there. Cracking player, Bruno Guimaraes. Look at that. I mean, yeah, I really rate him. I think he's brilliant. Very similar to Zubimendi that way, actually. Yeah, I mean, either of them would be great. Look, any of these players would be great. I know that sounds silly, but my rule is that we need to sign players who are a minimum 8 out of 10 that Guardiola can make a 9 out of 10. I think we've signed too many 6 or 7s out of 10s that Guardiola can't turn into 9 out of 10s because that's really hard to do. I think we've signed, I don't think 6 or 7 out of 10 is a bad player, by the way. I think he's a good player. This website, by the way, is Data MB. That website was Data MB. Can I show you which one it is there? Will it say it on the... Yeah, see it, Data MB at the top there. I just searched... there we go. Which one is it? That one there. I searched football stat comparison. It's this one here. Compare players, Data MB, this one here. So there we go. Yeah, but basically, I think we need to sign players who are playing at a very high level already. 8 out of 10 that Guardiola can get to a 9 out of 10. Because... Or a 10 out of 10 potentially. I think like Rodri signed an 8.5 out of 10. He turned him to 10 out of 10. I think people like Nunez is a 6.5 out of 10 midfielder, i.e. a good midfielder. But asking him to make him to be a world-class player is so hard, man. It's so hard. It's really, really hard. Someone wants Balaba in there. Let's bring Balaba in. What's he like? There we go. I mean, that's that guy... Look, I mean, that paints a very interesting picture of Balaba, as you'll see here. So Balaba, basically, he's very good defensive actions and great carrying, likes his forward passes, but he's quite limited, you would argue. Got a lot to improve on there. His progressive passes are low, his key passes are low. He's physical, so we're drawn to him, but he's nowhere near as complete as, as Zubimendi. So thank you very much for the super chat, by the way, Sanjeev. Really appreciate it. Look, you more super chats, I'll add more if you want to. I don't think Balaba is the answer to our solutions, right? The problems are right there. If you can get someone... Look, I don't want someone who can run really well. I want someone who's a creative genius as well, And I want someone who can keep the ball and be technically brilliant as well and has great progressive passes and key passes. I want it all. And Balaba, look, he could be that guy. But we'll see. We will see. Juventus are offering Douglas Luiz to City in January. I tell you what I would take, Zubimendi and Douglas Luiz on loan. I'd take that in a heartbeat. For right now, Douglas Luiz would be a decent midfielder in this Man City side. I don't think Douglas Luiz is the answer, but I think he'd be decent in this City side as an option until the summer. I'd take him on loan. I wouldn't take him permanently. On loan with a view to potential buying if he goes well. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, I think there is something in this news potentially between Zubimendi and Wharton. I think City's rebuild starts. I think it starts now, essentially. I think it has to. And I would be amazed if City don't go in, for someone like Wharton, someone like Zubimendi. Wharton's overpriced if you can get Zubimendi for cheap. But look, Devious Ducky, the rumours going around at Arsenal would considering a 55 million bid. So I don't think you go much higher than that. I think Palace are probably... The peak moment was last summer. And Palace are currently struggling a little bit. So I don't think they'd ask more than 50-odd million, which is a lot of money, but... Yeah, we will see. Guys, anyway, thanks for watching this. Let me know in the chat who you want to be City's midfield replacements. I will be doing my match preview for the Liverpool game probably tomorrow, maybe later on tonight. For now, though, I want to see these players come in. In a bit, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.